What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So I had to redo my video. So some people might be wondering, hey, I just saw you post a video at like 6 a.m. about, the recent Trump assassination attempt. And yes, I did. However, there were a couple of things that I got wrong as new details emerged, and I wanted to correct myself, give myself the chance to, correct here, right? So let's get right into it. For those of y'all who don't know, which I'd be very surprised if you don't know, but there was what is being called another assassination attempt on the life of former and future President Donald Trump. And I mean, I'm gonna be just real upfront and blatant about this. It's real odd to me that this is only happening to one side. I'm not sitting here saying, oh yeah, people should go shoot at Kamala Harris. I'm not saying that in any capacity, in no way. I'm not advocating for political violence by any standard. I'm just saying, doesn't it seem a little suspicious that it's only happening to one side? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my conspiracy brain going about. But I do feel the need to stress once again, I am in no way, shape, or form advocating for political violence of any kind. I'm just stating it seems a little suspicious to me that it's only happening to Trump. Now, moving on from that, we're going to talk about what happened and where I want to correct myself, right? So, what happened was it was at the Mar-a-Lago golf course. Secret Service started firing because they saw essentially the barrel of a rifle being pointed through a chain link fence. So, one, this tells me a couple of things. One, this guy probably didn't even have a shot ready, which is a good thing. Two, he probably didn't let a shot off as well, which is another good thing. Now, here's where I want to correct myself. All the media and all the information that was coming out at the time reported that it was an AK that was being used. So that was the information I had and went with that. However, new details came out, not an AK, an SKS. More than happy to say that, more than happy to point that out here and correct myself on that. But overall, my opinion still stays the same when it comes to this because there's a couple of things that I find a little odd here, right? So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. And once again, if I'm mistaken on this, of course, I will correct myself. All right, let's get into it. Apparently, the guy fled, right? He left his backpack and his SKS. And if I'm not mistaken, he took his GoPro with him or he left that. That part really doesn't matter to me. But he had a backpack, an SKS, and a GoPro. How big of a backpack was this if supposedly this backpack was to hold the SKS? That's what I'm confused about because they keep calling it a backpack. They're not calling it a bag like a rifle bag. You know what I mean? Like if it was if it was like my rifle bag that's sitting over there that can hold, for example, my Mossberg Maverick 88 as well, then, yeah, it would make sense that it's like, okay, yeah, his bag. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky here. Who knows? But it adds another couple layers in a perspective that he wasn't using an AK, he was using an SKS. It shows, one, of course, the ignorance of the media. And I'll even say it in this case, because that was all the details I had, my ignorance too, because ignorance just means a lack of knowledge on a specific subject. And in this case, I did not know the exact weapon that was used. I used the details that were presented to me. Now, moving on from that, what this also tells me is that if they did know, let's say they did, you know what I mean? Because some people are going to be nice, give them the benefit of the doubt, say they didn't know, they were just told it was an AK as well, so that's what they went with. Let's say they did know it wasn't an AK, it was an SKS, and they still went out of their way to call it that. It just shows that they're trying to push for another assault weapons ban. Here's why I say that. First attempt on Donald Trump's life, AR-15. They're trying to call the second attempt an AK. It wasn't an AK. It was an SKS, which, excuse me, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the one of the few guns that most politicians, when they look at, would be like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with this. This isn't an assault weapon." They like people are these anti two-way politicians are dumb. They don't understand how firearms actually work. That they shoot the same round, even though one of them is owned by your grandpa and another one is probably owned by me. Now, moving on from that, let's talk about how I feel that the anti two way is going to use this or try to use this against us, because that's essentially the entire point of the video. I did have to add these details in there and correct myself on that, but let's get right into this. So, like we saw with the first shooting, I feel that the anti two way crowd is going to do the exact same thing. They're going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, look, the people who are voting for, less gun control, more gun rights, their presidential candidate is being shot at. They're going to start feeling like they need to vote for gun control now, and they're going to start pushing for it." All right, they really think that people on the right who advocate for the Second Amendment are going to just, nope, we'll give up our rights because a couple of people started shooting at Trump. No, no, that's not happening. And I want to point this out, make this very, very clear to everyone, especially the anti 2A crowd. Donald Trump could get killed, and it will not make us give up our Second Amendment right. If anything, it will tell us completely, yes, we have fallen under the rule of a tyrannical government, and it will make us cling to our Second Amendment right even more, because that's what it was designed for. Like, one of the problems with the anti 2A crowd is they seem to think that any kind of tragedy or shooting means that, oh, well, we have to get rid of these guns. Everybody should feel the same way. When in all reality, they don't seem to understand what the Second Amendment was created for, which specifically was to fight off a tyrannical government, foreign or domestic. No matter what, tragedy happens, we're not giving that up. The two things don't correlate with each other. They have nothing to do with each other, plain and simple. Now, moving on from that, I believe what the anti 2A crowd is going to continue to do, because they did it with the first attempt, they're probably going to do it again with this attempt. I'm just putting out my predictions. They're going to try to call for another assault weapons ban. They're going to try to call for restrictions on where you can carry a gun, whether it's open carry or concealed carry. Let me see here. Probably going to call for a magazine capacity restriction nationwide. I don't know why. Look, all of these are just guesses. I will say that. However, some things that I can say, for example, the assault weapons ban that I can pretty much guarantee they're going to try to push again. That one is more backed based off the history of them doing that 2 months ago. 2 months ago, when the first attempt on Donald Trump's life was attempted, when the first attempt took place, like, I don't know. It just cracks me up, because overall, while I feel there was probably a 3-letter agency that's been involved in this, I can also say that these people who are anti-gun are the ones who have been sitting here calling Trump a Nazi, calling him a threat to our democracy, yada yada, all these names, and then they're wondering why this is happening. It seems like you're just basically revving people up to go shoot him. That's only if, a 3-letter agency is not involved in the situation. Now, something I also want to talk about, and this is what the anti 2A crowd won't realize, and this is where we kind of get the final laugh, right? He was already the I guess we can't say shooter because he didn't shoot anybody, or what I mean, whatever you want to call him. We'll call him the attempted assassin, because he attempted the attempt, couldn't even get an actual attempt off. He was a prohibited possessor. What does that mean? Well, what that simply means is that he legally could not own firearms anyways. So all of these laws that, these anti-2A politicians, the anti-2A crowd as a whole pushes, he already is violating them. It didn't stop him. It didn't stop him from getting a gun, doing evil in the world. Truth be told, evil roams about the world. That's how it is. All right. There's evil in the world. The devils roam in the world. There's nothing we can do to change that. So, why sit there and advocate against people being able to protect themselves? It makes no sense to me because, in the end, overall, whether people want to admit it or not, there are already gun laws in place that this guy broke by getting the gun. He is a prohibited possessor. Just being a prohibited possessor in possession of a firearm is a felony. Just that itself is a felony. And something else that I feel a majority of people don't realize is this dude probably didn't get his gun from a gun store, considering he is a prohibited possessor. So what does this mean? He didn't get it from a gun store. He probably didn't get it from a gun show either. So that means one of two things: he either bought it on the streets, or stole it. Now, who knows? Maybe he had it prior to being a prohibited possessor, but that's another situation. That's completely different. But whether he bought it off the streets or stole it, still illegal. Those are all laws that he's been breaking. So in the end, if there's already gun laws in place, already gun laws in effect that this guy's breaking, that is supposed to, these laws are supposed to stop him from getting his hands on a gun and, committing crimes with it. If there are already laws in place and nothing's being done, what's the point of the laws? You tell me. Like, in the end, every gun law is an infringement. That's the truth. The Second Amendment says shall not be infringed for a reason. We have tons of infringements. We have over 300 on the federal level, over 20,000 on the state and local levels. And still, we see all this happening. A prohibited possessor can get his hands on an SKS and try to set up, there we are, I can English, try to set himself up to go ahead and shoot Trump. The gun laws didn't work, guys. Let's get rid of them. It didn't do anything. Let's get rid of them. But I think that about wraps it up for this video. Overall, it kind of cracks me up that, the media, one, tried saying it was an AK. Two, I'm sorry, the fact that the media said it was an AK really, really cracks me up. One, that the media said it was an AK. Two, that another attempt on the life of former and future President Donald Trump even happened. Three, the fact that these anti-gunners are going to push for an assault weapons ban, push the lie that it was an AK, try to act like we're now the bad guys for it. They're going to try to blame us because we advocate for our Second Amendment rights. And honestly, my goodness, I can't believe I'm having to make another video talking about a Trump assassination attempt. And we don't know how many more times this is going to happen at this point, because it's not like, clearly it's not a one and done thing, apparently. But I'm about to go off on another rant. I got to stop myself. Overall, you gotta make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all, and whether or not you agree with me, go ahead and comment your opinions down below about what you believe or what you don't believe the anti-gun crowd is going to do with this situation. Because the anti-gunners love the phrase, you never let a good tragedy go to waste. With that being said, y'all make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.